This video, I'm going to show you how to pass command line arguments into your Forth scripts. Cover Gforth and SwiftForth in this video. So to get started, the hello world of doing these command line arguments, you can just type in Gforth-E and your arguments right here. And this will open up the Gforth and it will put 234, which was your argument, down here. So that's kind of the hello world of doing arguments, but you can take this much further. Let's say we want to pass an argument to a file. In this case, I've created a few files, but we'll start with argtest.txt. And in this file, all I have is the word 1+, which will increment anything that's on the data stack. So to run this example, just type in -e1, which is our argument, and we can pass in the text file, which is argtest.txt. So down here, you see that our file argtest ran. All it had was 1+, and it incremented the data stack by 1. But let's say we want to not enter Gforth, we want to exit and do something in Linux. So with Gforth, to exit a script, you always type in by, and we can come back to this and just type in -e and by. And our command ran, but it also exited. So to illustrate this, I have another example. I created a file where we can actually echo out the command line. So I'll just output the text to the console of argtest1.txt. And in this file, this is all I have. So it's set up a little bit differently. In this file, we have the word by. So we know that we're going to exit this script. And the keyword in this is going to be next-arg. So next-arg, I'll just show you. If I type in Gforth and the name of the file, which was argtest1.txt, and just anything, hello world, hey, you can see that we echoed out the command line arguments hello world and hey, and we exited the program. So the key word that you want to pay attention to is next-arg. That's what grabs this right here, and it's going to grab that as long as we have 0. So I think after 1 or 2, or actually 3 loops or so, we'll get 2 zeros on the data stack. And it's kind of a dynamic way to loop through these arguments. So if you're always wanting to know what this word is, you can type in locate next-arg, and you can see right here we get a little bit of help. And it says if there's no argument left, it's going to return 2 zeros. So that's what this is right here, is we're checking, okay, is there no more command line arguments? If so, after the 3rd loop, we're going to exit the script and just do that. We can see that we're going to get an address and a number of bytes. So that's what this is it's going to get an address, number of bytes, and it's going to feed it into this word called type, which expects an address and number of bytes. So you can modify this piece of code to fire off if a certain word is triggered or a certain word happens. So let me cat out this next demo I've got. And it's the same as the previous one, except we're going to search for the word fire. And if we have a match for that word in the command line, we're going to just type out to the screen, you typed in fire as a command line argument. So I can just go up here and redo that. And we'll just type in 2. And you can see it didn't fire because we didn't have the word fire in our command line. So I can just type in the word fire. And it says you typed in fire as an argument. So it doesn't matter where you type this. You can type it at the beginning or middle, but it will always search for this word. And if there's a match, it will do something. So this is handy if you're putting in dynamic text or dynamic arguments, you can have your script fire off if a certain keyword is found. And for this next demo, we can compile words dynamically. So I'm going to cat out this next one that we have, text. And you can see that if we have one command line argument, the word depth is going to get how many things are on the data stack. We have one command line argument. We're going to compile this word called increment one number. And all it does is increment, one number on the data stack. And we're not going to compile this. So this is going to be ignored. But if we have two command line arguments, then we're just going to increment those and output them to the data stack. So I can illustrate this by just typing in Gforth and -e 1 2 and the name of our file, which is that. And you can see typed in 1 2 and it should have incremented both. And you can see we've got 2 3. So this word right here should not run. So increment 1 num says we can't find it. It's an undefined word. So we can go exit this, clear, or I can just run it again. We can just leave one argument and you can see that it incremented the number 1 and we got 2. So that's a way to kind of dynamically do this. And you can also go to their help page. I've basically just modified their example. So right here is their echo out example that they have. And I'm going to cover these words next. So I'm going to cover the one argc. And you're going to see these in SwiftForth. And I'm also going to cover another word. And these words are low level. So they're kind of hard to illustrate because the command line also uses these words. So they're kind of hard to run by themselves. But in SwiftForth, I can actually run these words and show you pretty clearly what they mean. So SwiftForth has a Linux version. You can go to forth.com and download it. And I've just got it here right in my downloads folder. So I'll just click this, click on bin, Linux, and SF. You can open in terminal. Because this is 32-bit, you may have to run this command right here to download these libraries. And all you need to do is type in ./SF and it should pop open. So if you don't have this, like I said, you're going to have to copy and paste this command in to get the libraries for this 32-bit program. And once you're in, I'm going to show you how to use those words. So SwiftForth on Linux works similar to Gforth. Just type in SF, type in 1 2 3, and if you type .s, it will output whatever you put in the command line. Likewise, if you just type in by, it will exit. And if you type in a word that is unknown, such as something, it will throw a question mark and you have to answer yes, no, or edit. So hit in and you will be in the interpreter. And I discovered a way to bypass this. So it's kind of a hack. I don't know if this is the way to do things, but it's just what I figured out myself. So I'm going to type in by. And we'll just clear the screen. And we're just going to run these words. 0 word count. And the word something. And you see, we just bypassed that error. So to get the command line, we have a word called CMDLINE. If you type it in, it's going to output an address and number of bytes. So we can type that out. And you can see that we just typed out what was in our command line right here. So if we want to get this last word, all we need to do, CMDLINE 0 argv, type. And you can see that our first argument is this. And we can just kind of loop through this, but I'll just do it manually. You can see the next one is 0. and 2. So we got 3 and 4. There we go. So we can just kind of manually do this. You can put this in a loop and search through whatever words that you're trying to find. So next I'm going to show you this interesting word called atoi. I believe that's what it is. Let me see if I can get this up and running. So 12 test. And what I'm going to do is we're going to type in CMDLINE for argv type. And we've got our 12 tests as that argument. So instead of typing, what I can do is type in atoi, type in .s, and you can see right here that we've actually extracted the 12. So we didn't get this, we actually just extracted the 12 only, and we put the 12 on the data stack. So let me type in x, clear out the data stack, by, and we can type in something like, 14 test. Can run that command again. Let's see if I can get there. I'll just type it out. Instead of typing, we'll do atoi, and we'll do that. So there we go. So we extracted 14. We left this out of there, and we can do something with this. So we can always type in locate atoi. And this is a really useful word for parsing command line text. So it's highly recommended if you want to just extract numbers and not extract strings. So that's a really handy word. And this also works the same on the Windows SwiftForth. So if you type in the word B, you'll go back in the help page, and you can see we got a few more things here. So it says, these words are useful for parsing the command line. And you can actually copy this word and paste it into Gforth. So you can use this word in Gforth if you want to. And there's actually a few of these words that will transfer over. So that's kind of a tip that you can do. And if you had the full version of SwiftForth, I believe you can access the SwiftForth command line. So it's just a command line utility. And if I just, shift right click and open a PowerShell window, we can access the SwiftForth command line. I'll just type in cmd sf-cli, 123, and there we go. So that's how you run scripts on Windows, Linux, and Gforth. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think.